welcome back to another season of Say How It Is.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a new pad.
I know.
New pad.
Looks like we're in the Bahamas or something.
New hosts, new conversations. Yeah, joining me, Kate. What is your new title now? Tell everyone what your new role is within Say How It Is.
So I've given myself the role of associate producer because the associate means that there's not too much responsibility, but I still kind of sound a bit important in the emails. So that's my new title.
If anyone listened to my episode in season 1, Kate joined me on that. We've been best friends for flipping heck.
I think the only thing I contributed to that was the Hannah Montana quote. Like, honestly, that
you were meant to answer my question of how long we've been friends for, but did you just avoid that question because you don't actually know?
Of course I know. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to remember how old we are now.
Oh gosh, don't tell the audience that. We'll lose all our listeners.
Yeah, no, literally. We should play a game. Guess our age. 20. Well, depends. 27 and a half or 28 years when you turn 29.
It's a long time. Yeah, so we've been best friends for that long, really. Yeah, and you did contribute to that episode. Thank you very much. You held my hand. Answer the questions when I was crying.
Yeah. What's been going on, Ffion? Since the last few seasons?
Well, where do we start, to be honest? It's been a bit chaotic, 2 years.
I mean, people have probably seen.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. I think it actually has been over 2 years. Well, coming up to 2 years since actually the podcast was born. Yeah. And when, like, the idea of it came to light and, like, so that's been crazy that now we're starting season 3.
Were you injured then, or was it before the injury?
Was injured when it happened. Yeah, I was injured when it happened, and then I got diagnosed with endo. Yeah. And then, like, kind of like the summer 2 years ago, then the idea started happening. But yeah, just been absolute crazy time since then. Yeah. So obviously, like, Gwen's not hosting anymore, which is which is obviously different for where the podcast is going, but still really wanted to, like, I've been so passionate about what Say How It Is, and like how much time and energy I kind of put into it, and I really care about, like, the conversations I have. So still wanted to make sure that I kept that going. It's obviously be a bit different now this season, but I'm still really excited about kind of who I can meet and, like, who we have conversations with. So this kind of season's going to be a little bit more like not having one host, having like multiple different people hosting different episodes with me. So that'll be quite cool. Having, like, different voices throughout, as well as meeting obviously different people throughout the season as well. So that I think will be quite cool. Yeah, it's slightly,
the dynamic is slightly changing, but still keeping the whole kind of essence of
100%. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just really excited now, like, especially where my life's going, is just to, like, get this back up and running, because it's been a long time since Say How It Is last ran.
Oh my gosh,
and it ended at an unexpected time. Like, we had all these plans for the remainder of the season, and then obviously towards the end of last year, well, it ended of summer actually, of when it kind of came to, like, we have to take a break. Yeah, we're going to try and relaunch in October. And then it just didn't happen. Like, life just kept life in, and then here we are now with the end of May relaunching. So yeah, it's a bit mad. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited where it's going to go. So got some really exciting episodes coming up, so that'll be really good. Yeah. And you as my producer.
Well, I've worked really hard on this. No. We try. We hope you like it, guys. So where are you at the moment? How are you? What do you feel like is really important to kind of share at the moment with what's been going on, obviously, before starting this up again? Because I feel like there's been a lot, and some people might know some, but I feel like it's good to kind of go.
Oh, we're diving straight in.
Sorry, I don't. I'm being a producer. We are on the timer.
So where I'm at the moment, currently going to be unemployed.
We love it.
Well, end of June, I'm going to be unemployed. So obviously left the Wales squad. Unfortunately, my contract isn't going to be renewed at the end of June. So I left there early. Obviously now, since I've last recorded my own podcast. I've now obviously returned from injury, which is crazy because obviously the 2 seasons that we were filming, obviously myself and Gwen were injured for the majority of it, and that fueled a lot of what we used to speak about. And now I'm not injured anymore. Well, to be fair, my leg will never be the same, but not injured anymore, which is crazy. And also how that return happened, like spoke again a lot on the podcast around how my return hopefully was going to be for Wales, and that was the plan, and then obviously that didn't happen. So so much has changed. So now decided to kind of not go straight into full-time work yet. I kind of want some time to figure out what I want to do and have the opportunity to take up opportunities. I'm a qualified teacher, so a lot of people just assume that's what I would go back into straight away. And I think maybe that will happen in time, I'm not sure. But right now I don't think that's right for me. I kind of want to just have a bit of freedom to just figure out, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that?
Yeah, because you've never had that really, have you? Like you said, everything's always been really structured for you. So I think since being involved in rugby and I'm playing for Wales, my life has been completely structured. Like you get given your schedule for the year, you get told this is your time off, you need to be here, there and everywhere. You're told what to wear, what to eat, where to be, and then that gets taken away. So I kind of want just some time to just figure things out, explore, travel, work different, still work, but work in little things here and there, rather than just go full on, because I feel like I'm not ready to park with this life yet, and I'm not ready to like give up rugby completely. So but it's like figuring out who you are aside of rugby as well, because even though that's still a big part of your life at the moment, you can see like as time goes on that will change as well, so you really need to figure out what else kind of you want to do and what else. And I think trying as many things as you can and really like building a life outside of that is really important.
And like as soon as I found out the news about my contract, I like went to the States for a week, went to Canada, and then I flew to South Africa to play. So like even having that 2-week period where like I had the opportunity to do that, I think that was just giving me a taste of what the rest of the year could be like. And I didn't want to be stressed around, I'm not gonna have a job, my contract ends, now what? Because I've worked really hard in the background of having things to fall back on, like my teaching degree, my own coaching stuff, obviously like this podcast, and I want to have the time to be able to do those things. So I'm not stressed yet, because I'm kind of just like, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. So how was making your debut cross Atlantic? How was that compared to what you'd envisioned?
Awful.
Really?
Yeah, awful. I actually hated it. I was so upset when I came off the field. I cried my eyes out because I was like, this is not what I pictured this moment being like. Found out about my contract first time. Twice.
Thanks.
So in September, found out my contract wasn't being renewed in December, and then I wasn't being selected to go to WXV, so then wasn't then returning what was planned. So then I flew to the States within a week to play tens, which I'd never played before. And then I returned obviously from 18 months at that stage, out there. And I hated it. The game was awful. Like, again, what I'd envisioned in my head, how it was going to be, like how I was going to feel was awful. And I came off and I just cried my eyes out, because I was like, you build you build it up in your head of like, obviously the entire 18 months the plan was to return to play for Wales in the jersey. Like it sounds sad, but I pictured myself like singing the anthem, crying my eyes out. Like I envisioned those moments, and it was fine that it wasn't for Wales. It's how it happens. You can't, selection and stuff. But I think because I was away from home and like I wasn't with like my family or friends or around the people that supported me to return, it was quite a lonely and isolated way. There wasn't like a crowd, there wasn't anything, so it was kind of just like
an anticlimax.
It was a massive anticlimax, and I don't want that to sound like ungrateful, because obviously I was really grateful to be able to finally return, but I think I put all that time in, and again it just wasn't what I envisioned. So that was hard, because it was kind of like I felt like, oh, I've gone through that, and then it's like, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, and obviously I was around people that didn't know me or didn't know my journey, so like didn't understand why it was so important to me too.
Yeah.
Why I was there sat on the sideline crying. I was like, she all right?
Yeah, I know we lost, but no.
Yeah, no. I think we actually, I can't remember if we did win or lose. I think we did lose. But like after that, then that first game was out the way. It was fine. Like got into it, like scored my first try, like kicked my first kick, like things like that. And then it was fine. And then those 2 months ended up being incredible, and I loved it. And then when I started meeting different people, no one had guessed that I'd been out for that long. Like I met a coach who put me at like a really high standard in the sense of like, you've got this amount of experience, you've done this, this and this, so this is what I expect from you. And I ended up telling him, oh yeah, you know, like in just in conversation, like, yeah, you know, I've returned out here, been injured for 18 months. And he was like, what? He's like, I feel so guilty. I put so much pressure on you. And you've just told me that. I was like, yeah. He's like, you never would have known.
Really?
He's like, I've just met you. I've watched you train for a week. Like, I never would have known that this is, that you've been out for that long. Yeah. So I think in moments like that, then I was like, okay, well, that's what this is for. It's like to be out for that long and then for someone to never, you know, it's not completely obvious. Yeah. Like, obviously, people that really know me will probably see different parts of my game and see how I'm a bit different like that. But the most important thing is that I don't look out of place, or I don't look, oh gosh.
Yes. But that's a credit to you and your like kind of mentality and how you've approached it as well. And I think after America, you obviously went back to Wales training and thinking that you were going to be playing, and you really threw yourself into that training as well and really committed. And then obviously, what? Number 2.
Yeah, obviously when I was out in America, I had like different calls to be asked to consider have my contract renewed again, and I had to do X, Y, and Z when I was home to have my contract renewed, and then it got extended till January, and then extended again until June. So yeah, then agreeing to go back, and I was just like, again, I think I said on a podcast I did a few weeks ago, is that my family were quite protective over the thought of me going back, because they said, I don't want you to go through this again, and like it's, you know, you've been through so much to then have to go through it in case it happens. Yeah. But I was always thinking, like, in my head, well, what if I didn't go back? I'd always be questioning it. Yeah. So I don't regret it at all. But it was just so much harder the second time around, because it was kind of like, I kind of felt like a bit like a fool. But it is what it is. It's life. I am a believer and everything happens for a reason. So I'm just waiting to find out what that reason is.
Universe, what's the reason? No,
at the moment, I had a parking ticket yesterday, missed the bus, all sorts of things.
It keeps getting...
So, but sign didn't sign up. Sign didn't go up on the wall. Like, so when we waiting to find out what that reason is?
Well, I've told you the reason. It's Saturn return, and we're both going through it at 29. If you don't know what Saturn return is, check it out, and it may make sense for you. But me and Ffion are really riding it at the moment.
We are these people where we feel like everybody else is getting married, having babies, and then it's us.
Ta-da! Nothing's changed. It's a funny one. I don't know. It's a funny one. I think phases in life, and I think it's specifically like ages and milestones that you should have met by like society standards, and when you don't.
Well, when I was younger, I was like, I want 2 babies by the time I'm 24.
Yeah, I know, that's wild.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
Literally
couldn't think of anything worse.
Well, I always say, I was like, I think I'd be like teen mom, but I'm actually 29. Literally, I'm like, when did that happen?
But like, I think it's interesting, because when you're younger, what you define like success has changed now. Yeah. And like now, I don't see things like that. It's different, isn't it? Because different people want to settle down and have X, Y, Z. Now I'm like, I want to live.
Yeah. And I think also how other people perceive your success compared to how you see it as well. Yeah. Because on the outside, it may look like you're smashing it, I'm smashing it, we're doing all this stuff. But actually how we feel at the moment is like we are so out of control and our life is spiraling.
we ring each other up and we're like, guess what happened today? And you're like, oh God.
What? Can I top it? Yes. No, yeah.
Or like, sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I'm just not.
Yeah. But I think that's that, you know what? Sometimes you do need to switch off.
100%. And I just think that, I think you get to the stage when you're close and like you're coming close to 30 where it's like, you're meant to have, not say meant to, but like it's the pressure where you're meant to have it all figured out and you're meant to have this great job and this whole thing, and it's like, and a lot of people are, but then I think it's now what we are finding is that it's scary, but at the same time I'm getting pretty chilled about it. I'm like, I still feel young, man.
Yes,
like, the thought of nearly being 30, I'm like, I'm still like 23.
Yeah, no, literally, honestly.
I am still 23.
Yeah, everyone else is aged and I have. But I think as well, like, I'm trying to phrase that in the right way. We've both made decisions recently, which we could have stayed nice and safe and comfortable, but we was like, it really went against our happiness and our like passions for our lives. And we were just like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, so a bit of background on Kate. You left Wales and you fled and you moved to London. Do you want to give a bit of a background to everyone of...
So basically, I trained as an actor.
Yeah, you went to Cardiff.
Yeah, so I trained as an actor and then COVID hit and then I just decided to move to London. I paid a month's rent. I had no job, but I was just like, okay, I'm going to go and it'll work out. Anyway, 4 years later, I've kind of built a life.
Yeah, you've been there 4 years, so yeah, decent amount of time.
I'm now a reformer Pilates instructor.
Which, by the way, knowing Kate, no way on this planet Earth I would have thought that's something that you would have ended up doing. Like, you messaged me like, I'm doing my PT course. I was like, what?
Yeah, and then
what?
Yeah, because I did get into fitness, but like after I knew you, and obviously we went down such different. We always say like, I'm like the dolphin. Ffion's the cow, and I don't say that in a horrible way, but if you know the meme, because we went down such different paths. But anyway, yeah, so I kind of stumbled upon this reformer Pilates vibe, and yeah, for a year and a half it really hasn't brought me joy, and neither has London. And I think it took me a big meltdown to decide that I'm coming back to Wales, which is at 29 and with no plan again. I never seem to have a plan. It was big and I did feel like I was a failure in some ways because I was like, I'm going to have to move back in with my parents, which I kind of like, but you know.
Her parents are cool. Yeah. Like, I would love to move in with your parents. Yeah. You wouldn't even need to be there. I could just move in with them.
Exactly, right? I'll be fed. I'll be...
very fed.
Yeah, oh my God. But basically, I think you just feel at a certain age, it's a massive step back, and it looked, the gym I work at is really cool. You live in London, but at the end of the day, my happiness was so outweighed that I had to make that decision and go, I don't care what other people think.
But I think that's pretty damn cool, to be honest. To be able to, yeah, I do, yeah. I do. I think that, like, being able to make that decision, and some people would not make that decision and just sit in the unhappiness. And like, I think social media is a massive thing to be like, oh, I'm living in London, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But then behind, you're really suffering. Like, to make that decision, I think is pretty powerful. So I'm pretty proud of you for you making that step.
Thank you. Because, do you know what?
And I also want you to live with me at some point. So coming back to Wales is...
Oh, hang on. We've got
the plot.
The plot.
No, but I do. And I think you've been struggling with it for a while. And you obviously moving to London initially was in the hope that, like, your acting was going to take off. Yeah. And I think for you to then make that decision and accept then to come home, I think it's a big step for you to be like, okay, maybe this isn't working out. And then...
I literally was like, what reason did I come here for? And not being ungrateful, but I was like, I do not want to be waking up sad. Yeah. And I was feeling lonely, feeling sad. Again, I don't have a partner, so that was like a big thing as well. So yeah, it was scary, but I just think if you make a decision, tell as many people as possible, because then you've got to commit to it.
And also we can all reassure you to be like, yeah, that's a really stupid decision.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all on board. And I'm pretty sure that like your circle, your family, like when you told me, I was like, I was on board with it. Yeah. Because I think the people around you and that the people that know you and know how unhappy it's made you think it's the best decision for you. Yeah. And like London's always going to be there. Exactly. Even if like you went home and you reset and then you were like, okay, I'm ready. Maybe I'll go back and try it again. But yeah, I think you never know. Coming home, maybe just what you need for like your brain just to be like, okay, what's next?
And also, like, I know not to get too like, ooh, but like since I made the decision, I've kept seeing 111 all the time, and I just feel like there's been signs that it's the right. So I'm trying to be positive and not. I think what I want people to think to get from it is I don't know what I'm gonna do, and not everyone's in the position that they can just go, F it, I'm going home and I'm gonna live with mom. But also, don't worry if you don't have it mapped out as well. And like, yeah, I think sometimes, like you said, we don't put ourselves first because it's scary, and what if it doesn't work out? But what if it does?
Mic drop. That's a clip.
That's the end of the
Thank you for listening to Say It How It Is. It's over. I think the episode was like 15 minutes.
Scrap the season, really.
I don't even know where to go back from that, to be honest.
No, I know. Literally, that was,
No, but I do think that's a big thing. And I think we're going through a similar thing, but same but different.
Yeah.
Making big life decisions that some people probably wouldn't make, but we know it's the right thing for us.
Yeah.
And then putting your happiness and your mental health first, because that's a big one.
That's a big one.
And I think we've both been kind of struggling with that, of like how we feel and
how you navigate.
So I think when you said about failure, I think that's really interesting, because that's how I kind of felt.
Yeah.
Obviously feeling like I failed anyway, but not getting my contract renewed.
Yes, of course.
But then, and not obviously return for Wales.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the normal way of thinking should be, why would you step away when everyone wants to play for Wales?
Yeah.
I think, like you said, prioritising the right things and putting yourself first.
Yeah.
That's growth, if you ask me. Like, that for me is, I'm actually really proud of myself for making that decision. Same for you. I'm really proud of you making that decision, because you're making it for you and nobody else. Yeah. You could stay to try and get validation from everyone else, but what is that? And then what is that trying to prove? Because in the end, it's not going to make you a happier individual.
Who are you doing it for then? Yeah, and I think we have done it. Like, you've played for Wales. I've lived in London. I've done it, and we've decided it's not for us anymore in some way or the other. So I think and I think it's quite fair. Like, people pleasing and things on social media is so interesting, isn't it? Because you do worry a lot. What are people going to think? Or what if they see this? What, like, who cares? Who cares? The older you get, who cares? Literally.
Yeah, and I think that's the era. I said, someone asked me the other day, like, how are you? And I'm like, I think I'm going into my calm era.
Yeah.
Yes. My calm era.
Love that.
And my angry little self can be calm.
Yes, exactly.
But I think that I just don't care anymore. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what people think. I don't care. As long as my circle are happy and healthy, and I'm happy and healthy, and Marley's happy and healthy,
100%. And also, like, the circle will get smaller.
It's getting fucking smaller by the day.
Yeah.
It's getting smaller.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to happen when you get older, and everyone said this until we got older, and then we realised it. But I'm also okay with that. And I'd never, that's one thing I think, especially with how I've grown up, friendships are really, really important to me, because friendships became like the family that I never had. Yeah. So then they became more important than they should have because of that reason. Yeah. And that was when I'd part, your friends, you fall out or you just don't speak anymore. Like, they're not in any negative way too. No. Sometimes you just don't, life moves on, you just stop speaking or whatever. Yeah. Go to separate ways. I'd find that really, really difficult. I find that really, really hard. Yeah. Like, it's like a grandparent dying kind of thing. Like, that's how impactful it would be on my life. But now I'm getting to a stage where I'm like, I'm okay. I spent so much time on my own the last 2 years that I'm like, do you know what? If you're not, not so much bringing something to the table, but if you're not appreciating what you're eating at the table, then there's nothing on the plate, because I just don't have the capacity anymore for people that don't have the same intentions as me, and like are happy to.
And hopefully you've done the work that you can give yourself what they're not giving you. So there's no need for them as well. Like, I
just think it's a lot of individual growth again around being comfortable with having a smaller circle. Like, I don't need a huge circle to be happy and be okay. Like, I knew that the issues, why I need, not what I needed, but like why having so many friends was so important to me. Yeah. But I knew that those issues was me. Mm-hmm. And now that I feel like I've worked on that so much, I've realised how important having a smaller circle is. Yeah. And then prioritising those people rather than like, it's quality over quantity. Yeah. Which I've now my older life and my trauma is realised. And like I said, I think it's difficult because then you start comparing, don't you? Oh, so-and-so's done this and so-and-so's done that. And then you're like, individual, oh, I'm suffering with X, Y, and Z. But the right people will stick by you and stay with you through the downs, all the downs, and then they can celebrate the ups with you, you know?
Exactly. No matter where, you know, we always say our lives have always been on different trajectories, but you always know.
Yeah, we're still
exactly.
Going.
It's funny.
It's actually really funny because me and Kate went to Mithrin together, which is like, people that aren't Welsh, it's like preschool, like nursery. Yeah. And then we went to same primary school. They went to the same comprehensive. Yeah. And then we both secretly went to college, but where we live, where you live now, where we went to school, there is a college there. Yeah. But we didn't go to that one. We went secretly all the way to Llanelli to do like an enrollment day, but didn't tell each other until we were both on the way there. I can literally remember this. I was in the car. Yeah, you were. And you text me being like, oh, I'm on the way to, just to let you know, I'm on the way to Cog Cigar. And I was like, what? Same. We were like, bear in mind, I'm sporty. Yeah. Kate's not. So we weren't going to the enrollment day because we were going for the same course. You went into like, what was your
performing arts?
Performing arts. And I was going to sports coaching. And then I was like, I'm going too. And it was, from where we are from, people don't do that. Like, you either go to sixth form or if you go to college, but you go to one down the road and you go to like childcare or you do construction or something. Like you don't go to Llanelli to go to college. It was so weird. Yeah.
We didn't know anyone there.
We didn't know anyone. It wasn't like, oh, that was the trend. Didn't know anyone. So that was really strange. And how we were going on the same day. And then we texted each other like an hour later. So I just enrolled, and you were like, same. I was like, what?
Yeah,
this is mad.
But then our lives there, you were in a completely different. It felt like we were in like,
we were like passing chips.
Yeah, because you were in like the cool sporty side, and I was like the drama geek. Like no one wanted to know the drama geeks. Okay, so I was like, do you know what? This works fine. So yeah, the
college was basically sporty. So a lot of the majority of us were.
That's true, but you took over the whole half of the canteen. It was literally that vibe. So
I loved college. College was the best 2 years ever. Like
you would if you took up half the canteen. We had like one little table. Like.
Anyway,
moving on. We don't have any grudges.
You don't.
No.
Then obviously I went to Cardiff Met, and then you went to, where the hell did you?
Northampton, then Cardiff, and the rest is history. That's when you realise you're 29 because you're like, whoa.
But we're still going strong.
And I do think you never regret. Like I always say, even from having like, you know, really bad relationships, you never regret any relationship or any person you meet because it's a reason, a season. You know that whole thing. You meet someone for a reason, a season, or a forever. I don't know.
Reason, a season. Doesn't it all rhyme?
Reason, season.
Reason, a season. Whatever. Know. You get the gist.
You know what I mean.
Well, I think that, you know, I agree. And especially in sport, like you meet so many different people all the time, which is cool. And you just don't know who you're going to meet. So that's one thing I'm going into my calm era is saying yes to stuff. Because even if it puts me in my comfort zone or like I've never done it before or I don't know anyone, I'm still going to do it. Yeah. Because you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know what opportunities that it's going to
arise.
Yeah, for sure. And I've never regretted so far saying yes to something because I've always either met someone cool, had an awesome conversation, or something's come from it. So it's been, that's where I'm going so far.
I think that's good though.
I did, like, for example, I did a endometriosis webinar last week.
Yeah, tell them how that went.
Yeah, that was awesome. Again, absolutely shitting my pants. Of course. Never done a webinar before, especially on something like endo, where it's really important that you get things right.
There's a big audience.
Yeah, it was like over 100 people from the Ministry of Defence. That could be wrong, but I'm sure that's what it was.
We'll go.
But that was awesome, and I got asked to do it. I thought, oh gosh, I'm not qualified to do this. Yeah. But they weren't asking me because I was qualified. They were just asking me based on my experience.
Exactly.
So I was like, just do it. Yeah. And I loved it, and I had such good feedback from it. They said that the chat box was like the most interactive it had been, and I had such a buzz off it. So things like that. I'm like, and then they want me now to do a different stuff for them and like stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm so glad I did do it, because the only reason I wasn't going to do it was because of my own anxiety.
Fear. Don't let fear. 100%.
And I was like, that would have, imagine me not doing that now. That would have been so stupid of me. And now I've done it. I'm like, oh. So that's a kind of fuel thing for me now, is like, make sure you say yes to stuff.
Yeah.
Don't say no just because you're thinking you're out of your comfort zone, or you're too scared or too anxious.
Yeah.
That anxiety will die off at the end.
Yeah.
You'll be so glad you've done it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one thing that I'm thinking about now.
I think
going into this new phase of life,
because that worries me. Getting older, I still have things now in London. I'm like, right, I'm moving, and I don't want to look back and be like, why didn't I do this? And with some things I will, and there's no point like beating myself up about that. It's just like, how can I go forward and go, I'm not gonna let fear stop me from doing things from now on. Yeah. So if anyone's like, oh, I wish I would have done that, rather than like dwelling on it, use it as the fuel to like go, well, from now on, let's just do everything. No,
Well, I think that, it's quite interesting really, because like the whole fear thing, like don't want any regrets. Yeah. And it's, how I look at it, it's like same, for example, as the going back into the Wales squad after the first time my contract got cut, is that I wouldn't want to look back and be like, what if I didn't do it? Exactly. I'd be kicking myself. And I'd rather try it and then be like, oh, it just didn't work out, rather than me then look back and be like,
what if?
Yeah, what if? Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting one. I think the anxiety and the fear thing is a big one, because I think that stops us from doing so much and achieving so much. But like I said, going into this calmer era of my life now, I'm like, come on. Yeah. And like, interesting that you said about going to 30, because I'm like, whoa, I'm really scared of getting old. Yeah. And like, even in sport, you got all these youngsters coming through, and I'm like, I am old. Like, how are we nearly the oldest in the squad kind of thing? And I'm like, whoa.
But also, we're only going to get older. But we're only going to get older. In 10 years, we'll look back and go, why the hell are we going on about this?
But like, people are saying that the 30s are the best years of your life. So I'm like, come on, hit me with them. Bring it on.
Yeah, literally. Saturn return is over. Let's get better. I mean,
so I'm trying not to be scared anymore. I'm like, I'm still only 28. I'm still only 28.
Yeah. Well, do you know what's interesting? My dad will hate me for sharing this, but so he was like 65 last year, whatever.
Oh, he will hate you for saying that.
Yeah, I know. But he decided, I'm gonna pass my motorbike, like my motorbike. Boy. Yeah. And do you know what? For a year, he worked at it. He went out of his comfort zone. He went down, did the lessons. He failed once. He got back on the bike. He went. Yes. And he passed, so he's been not zooming, you know. And anyway, this year he's gone, I need another goal. I've always wanted to learn Welsh all my life.
No way.
Yeah. And now he's gone, I'm going to do this. And,
yes, I love that.
And otherwise he gets scared, and he's like, no. But he was like, I've got this urge. And I think age is that. It's like, you got to do it now, because otherwise, like when...
I love that. Yeah. And the fact he's actually done it. It's like, it just shows that like there's not an age where you can't keep doing stuff and achieving stuff. I think you can get so comfortable to being like, oh well, it's over for me now and I just have to settle. You don't. Yeah. You can be, how old is he?
67 now.
67. 67.
I know. Sorry, Dad.
Shut up.
I know.
67.
Yeah. But he rides a motorbike.
I still think your dad's like 40.
I know, literally.
Yeah, but you can say he's 67 passing a motorcycle test and learning Welsh. Like, there's no end. I think the only end is your own self, like you stopping yourself and thinking that
limiting beliefs,
but it actually isn't.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool if you ask me.
I think if anyone's got any other, that they've done, please let us know, because I think it's inspiring for people to go, I did this and it was scary, but we did it.
I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I think we should, people should let us know. How old were you when you started something new, tried something new, did something scary for the first time, or thought I couldn't do that at the age of like 40 and the next thing you did? Yeah. So I think that is pretty cool to know.
Yeah. Or even if it's something like you were younger but it just terrified you, and then suddenly you went, I'm going to do it, I'm going to tell everyone, and I did it. Like,
nice.
I made my short film. Like, do you know what I mean? Yes.
Which, by the way, is pretty damn cool. Kate made a short film.
Thank you. Basically, it was about, I think I was really unhappy in London. This is like the theme.
No one should move there.
It's a hard, but no. Really unhappy teaching reformer in London. Very grateful for the opportunity, but it wasn't bringing me joy. And I was like, how can I use this to pursue my career, the acting, and people kept going, you should write it. You should write this idea you've got. And I just went, do you know what? F it.
You can swear on this podcast.
Fuck it. I was like, yes. And I just wrote a little bit of a scene, and I was like, okay, I can't write. And then I just told people, I was like, oh, by the way, I'm writing this short film. Oh, by the way, I'm writing this short film. I was like, shit, I gotta write this short film now. I'm telling people. And on and off for a year, do you know what I mean? It wasn't an easy process. I hate writing, but we got there, we filmed it, and turned a negative into a positive. And I always said I can't write. And I've written.
You've done it.
I've written.
Yeah. Smashed it, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
Where can they find this?
Still in the edit at the moment, but hopefully we'll get it along by the end of the year.
But you did do a short. You were a part of a short film.
Yeah, I was one.
Well, I watched one of them in the theatre, in the cinema.
In the cinema, our home cinema, yeah.
Which is pretty damn cool if I do say so myself.
If I've been to Burnham.
Literally. But that is mad though.
Yeah.
I think that we used to go there as literal teenagers, as like 13-year-olds watching films, and then you were actually on the screen. Yeah. Sorry, actually saying that out loud,
I know.
Mental. Like you were then on the screen.
On the poster.
You were.
Yeah. I was looking around at all of you guys, and then
that was nice though, like everyone was there in school and stuff, watching it.
Do you know what? That's really nice, and I think that's when we look at the, you know, I gave up London, or you're like, you know, I'm not playing for Wales anymore. But I think looking back at all the things we have done is really, oh God, I know. Yeah, literally. I know.
I am terrible for that. I am bloody terrible.
Yeah, but my friend used to do a thing at the start of every year. She wrote down everything that she'd done. It doesn't have to be an achievement, just everything positive. And she actually surprised herself with how much there was.
Yeah.
You should do it.
Well, we should both do it. We did say, so basically me and Craig.
My alter ego, no.
Other personality.
Producer Craig.
Me and Kate, every year at Christmas time, even if we don't see each other throughout the year, we always see each other at Christmas time. So I go to Kate's house, we make freshly made pizza from scratch. Well, your mother does, we just eat it. And then we did make gingerbread. We used to make the gingerbread and whatever. Now we've become lazy with age, and now we've just like last year. Now we just bought. Actually, we didn't even buy gingerbread. We had to go out on the night,
and it was pre-made.
It was pre-made. It was pathetic, so bad.
Yeah,
we make gingerbread and decorate gingerbread. Obviously, now we just did the decorating part.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were meant to do a mood thingy, a year thing.
Yeah.
So why on earth was like, where was I going with that? We were meant to do like a yearly mood thingy.
Mood board.
Can you
Vision
explain
board.
this? Because this is what you did the year before.
Yeah.
And you did it with actually did it with your dad. And your dad.
I did my mother, and then my dad stole the other canvas and stuck a motorcycle. So basically, just like a vision board. A lot of people who are into manifestation or just into it, basically you visually create a board with all the kind of goals that you've got or things that you'd like to achieve, and then you hang it up, because the more you see it, the more likely.
It's like you saying about you telling people about the short film, and then you
exactly nice. So it's like you're putting it out there, and then you are more likely to actually do it. So we were going to do that.
So what did you put on yours with your mum?
Oh, so I don't know, but she put like traveling. We both went travelling, and we went travelling a lot then. And I went travelling with you.
Yes.
She put green tea. She wanted to drink a lot of green tea. What did I put? I actually put something about savings. I was in an advert, had a decent amount from that. And that gave me better savings, which was near the target. So that was one where I was like, right, okay. And travel. Went to Japan, went to LA, California with you. So I think we should definitely, and I do recommend it. Yeah.
What would be on mine if I had to do it right now? The podcast definitely would be on there, because like I want to create it.
I think I created sections, so think of it like in sections.
Okay, so what would be in the sections? Like to explain.
So like
especially if somebody else wants to do the same thing.
Okay, so I did like a relationship section that still hasn't been completed. I just put a green flag, because at the end of the day, that's all I'm looking for, guys. I thought
this is why you got 4 layers of background.
Less red, more green, please.
That is funny.
Yeah. some acting stuff, and I did actually put the director that directed my short film in it.
Cool.
So
that technically means
we're working together.
It. Yeah,
100%.
Nice.
Then a little section on like travel and spending more time with my friends. So little bits like that. It doesn't have to be like I'm going to start my own business or exactly. Yeah, so yeah, are you inspired? What would?
Well, podcast would be on it. Mm-hmm. Travel would be on it, but like traveling with like rugby and stuff, which again, my plans for this year currently are looking like that.
Yeah.
Got definitely a few different countries.
Yeah.
On the agenda this year.
Well, how about more of what you did as well with speaking like on endo and stuff like that? Just
I'd love to do more stuff like that. I think just I suppose you say not business, but business I think to me is important because I'm having to be my own business at the moment with yes, I have rugby coaching, but then speaking on things like my experience with endo and stuff are also quite important to me too. So doing things like that and then spreading the conversations like what we do on the podcast, but spreading those things more wide. Obviously Marley is of course heavily incredibly important. She would be probably the centre of the
just spend more time with Marley or do
for sure
fun
which
stuff.
Is obviously quite hard when I'm now going to be so busy, but try and make the most of all the time.
But it could be making time for Marley when you're making sure that the times together are like
for sure.
Savings
would definitely be on mine because the career that I've done the last few years has absolutely financially ruined me. So that's definitely on there. Obviously then that becomes quite difficult when I'm now unemployed.
We love it. No,
but again,
well, maybe we should do one on investing, particularly for women. I think
that would be cool because I think I would learn a lot.
I think I would as well. So if anyone wants to help,
that would be cool. Women in business is a huge one because I think you crush the stereotype, don't you?
100%. We need to know how to best use our money.
Yeah. So
I think that sounds great.
Cool. I just think that I know I said at the beginning like the last 2 years have been crazy, but I think if I wrote down everything that happened in the last 2 years to like now, I don't think I would have planned for that. So what my mood board would have been to then what I'm at now is so different.
Yeah.
Like from the time I did Maycell, literally is 2 years ago now. 3 operations, an endo diagnosis.
Yeah.
All that stuff we went through last year with all the contracts and stuff all the summer, which was literally horrific.
Yeah.
Gone through the breakup from hell.
Your house.
My house. Oh my gosh, yeah. My mum Guy passed away on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
My house flooded in with a sewerage flood, which made me homeless for like 3-4 months.
Yeah, literally.
Obviously losing my contract twice. Choosing to actually then leave Wales. Yeah. And then obviously when I had my return at the end of like last year and then not having to return. Yeah. Obviously not getting selected and not being able to return far away. I'm like, this was not on the plan. That is a lot of goddamn trauma.
Who's got it in for me up there?
Who hates me up there? Because someone does. Goodness.
No. But I feel like when you feel like you've really hit rock bottom, which I remember you saying you're like, I've hit rock, the rockiest of bottoms.
And I kept thinking, I've hit rock bottom and then there'll be another bottom under that rock bottom. And I just keep finding this different rock bottom all the time.
So hopefully we are at the rockiest. Hopefully you can only go up because Ffion, how much more can we add to that like list? Do you know what I mean?
Well, who knows? I don't know, but I hope it ends now. But I did have a parking ticket yesterday, so
that's but again, it ends.
That's not life changing, so it doesn't really count. Well, but I don't know. I am hoping that life now, as I'm going into this calming era, ends because like I don't know how much I could take anymore, to be honest. But I do think hopefully it is over. So I do think all of these life changes. I think I'm making the decision to leave Wales and then me being like, right, this is a new start. Yeah. I feel like it's put an end to this absolute horrific 2 years it's been.
Yeah. We're putting it here now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying it out loud because I'm really, like,
Say
so much of who we could take.
Say it, yeah.
I think my mental health is a big one because, you know, I've spoken about it quite a lot around how much I've struggled the last 2 years, but the end of the summer period with all the contracts that ended and then like my contract and then return and my mental health was like, oh my gosh, it's all time low then. Like that was a really, really dark place.
But it would be. You literally had everything thrown at you. Oh,
that was horrific. And I think that was quite scary because obviously I've been open around how I used to suffer with my mental health when I was younger, but I've never, since I've got over that period, never really struggled since. Like, obviously have anxiety and have down days, but this was this was really bad.
The depth, yeah.
So I think that's been a real struggle, having to deal with that, and then having more things on top. Like, when we lost my mum getting Christmas Day, that was horrific. Like, having to like watch my mum just sit on the sofa after losing her mother, and then, you know, she was like, oh, let's just open presents as normal, and I was like, it's not normal though. It's not. And we did for her, but it was just not. It just wasn't nice, you know.
No, 100%.
And then obviously with the house and everything, it just was horrific. It just was horrific.
Cycle,
So my mental health hasn't had a chance to be like, we're gonna get it's gonna get fixed now, and I had to be reliant on medication and stuff, and as much as then stopping to be reliant on it, it just kept increasing rather than decreasing. So I was like, where was there an end? And then I think then obviously when everything happened with the contracts, I was like, poof, this is me done. But I think it's like the cherry on the cake, you know. And I was like, I have to, and I think I made that decision then to leave, because I was like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep going and going and going. This is not healthy. And if this was my friend that was going through this, or my family member, like, what would I be telling them after having to watch everything they've gone through the last 2 years, and like watch the person that they truly are just shrink? Something's got to change. So now, like, however many weeks after, I feel in a healthy place. I feel in a more happier place. Reduce my medication, which is good.
And do you know what? I was going to say on the medication, you did everything within your control. And then, so like, I feel like there's a stigma about being on medication, but I'm just like, make it work for you.
I genuinely think there is a stigma, because I felt embarrassed having to, you know, like you have to fill out forms to say what medication you're using. I'd always have to write my end medication, but I'd be so worried. Depending on what form it was, sometimes I wouldn't even write what my antidepressant anxiety medication, because I'd be like, I'm too embarrassed to write
judgment,
it. And when you talk about control, it's an interesting one, because I had obviously my psych that I was dealing with all the time. Dealt with my doctor, and I had incredible support like that, but it just wasn't enough because of how much I was struggling. And my psychologist was like, I don't want you to go on them, because I don't want you to rely on them. But it was something that took that edge off of me at the time, to be able to find even the energy to just get up in the morning. And like, my job was all about performance and turning up and exercising when I had no energy. And then I have a condition that chronically makes me fatigued. It's a chronic condition that makes me fatigued anyway. So it was like a trump of things. And I knew going on them wasn't me accepting defeat. I was kind of like, I actually know how this feels, because I've been through this before. And I know I'm not going to be on them forever, but I know this is what I need at this time. So I didn't find it that scary compared to other people outside of me, if that makes sense. I didn't expect them to be increasing, because obviously I didn't expect to be going through things that were going to keep happening. But now, like I said, I've reduced them, and I'm now in the position where like I'm comfortable with starting to come off them, and then hopefully then by the summer I can just not be on them anymore, and then I'm going back into this healthy, happier place, if that makes sense.
But then, you know, come summer, if you still have to be on a dosage, you still have to be on a dosage, as long as generally you're feeling I've got a bit more, I've got control and my happiness, I'm getting back to what I used to be and want to be, then make it work for you. Like, but I've considered going on them. Do you know what I mean? I think it's quite a thing that most people consider but just don't talk about.
But I think control is the biggest one, because I feel like you lose if it's an option for when you lose control. And like during that period of my life, like I didn't use that medication until like a year and a half into all of that kind of trauma. And then it was because at that stage I felt like I'd lost complete control. And instead of then all those months that were happening afterwards, it's because that control was continuing to just be out of my reach. But like I said, I'm in more now, like I'm going into this, I said it again, calmer era, where I'm in more of a clear headspace, and I'm in a position where I can make decisions for my own life and my own direction, and I feel like that's benefiting me. And I know I'll look back on these decisions that I'm making at the moment, and I'll be like, they were the right decisions, and I'm going to know that because I'm going to feel it, and I feel it already. So, but I'm also trying to be more comfortable with being open about it, because you'd speak about it if you had a chest infection and you had to go on antibiotics, or if you were on some pain meds for something with your calf that was constantly hurting you. But I just feel like with something like that, there's a shame around it.
And weakness.
It's a weakness. And I don't feel like I was agreeing to be on them for that reason. But yeah.
I think it's almost a strength going, no, I'm not in the place where I want to be, but I do need them, and I'm like, why is that?
It was awful. Like, I was just crying all the time. I couldn't even, like, some days I would struggle to even turn for training. Like, some days I'd go to training and I'd be sent home because I was like, I'm being defeated currently.
Yeah.
So it makes the decisions I've made recently easier.
Yeah.
I know the place I was in, and I know the place I'm currently in right now, and I knew what I'm trying to be better as is looking forward to be like, I know in time I'm going to feel better.
100%.
So, and like I said, I'm feeling in a healthier and happier place now, so I know the decisions I made were for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So
which is amazing. Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, how are you feeling? How are you?
Well, to be honest, it's interesting about the antidepressants because I went to the doctor because exactly like you, I was like, I do not want to be waking up sad every morning. And I feel very guilty and awful saying that because I'm like, the world we're living in, what do I have to feel?
Yeah.
Really, you don't feel like you like. Yeah. There's so many awful things going on. You're like, but I feel really sad, and I think for my job it's very performance based, and I was feeling so shit and anxious to then go and perform this job and people would barely look at you or say thank you, and like just draining constantly. I felt like my cup was half empty, and I think my point was obviously you need to stay in shape, but I was like gymming and feeling sad. There was no endorphins.
Yeah.
I felt like I could cry as I was gymming, and I was like,
I feel you on that one. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was looking in the treadmill.
In the gym and I'd be like crying.
Yeah. I was like, endorphin. They say, mental well-being, go and exercise. I was like, this is a chore and it's not bringing me any joy. I do enjoy working out. It was just I'm in the place where I feel so heavy. Like, my thing is, I don't know if you feel like it, it's imagine someone's got a weighted blanket and then they wet it and then chuck it on you and you feel just like that heaviness.
That heavy drain.
And you just can't get rid of it. And I was like, so I thought mine was hormonal. Because you hear a lot about like PMDD and things like that. Like, it was very...
You do struggle with that. You do struggle on your periods. And
yeah, I do get to the point where I think very bad thoughts, like it's monthly.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, let's go to Harley Street.
Do you need to just explain if people don't understand what?
Yeah. So PMDD is like premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Sorry if I've got that wrong, but basically it's like PMS symptoms that you get when you do on your period, but heightened to...
Which is premenstrual symptoms.
Yes, sorry, but it's like, but it's that times like...
The similar time every month before your period where you're like, you feel down and stuff and you feel badly with them, don't you?
But you feel so, to me, I'd like lock myself away. I didn't want to see anyone. I'd feel these awful things. It's really, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but the people who live with you know, they see the change. So I was like, right, I'm going to Harley Street from 1 to 100. I was like, I need this sorted. And anyway, no judgments, but like, she was kind of like, have you tried wellness? Do you want to try the pill? And I'm fine with like going on the pill, but I was like, I haven't been on the pill for 5 years. Like, I don't want to just go on the pill.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my experience.
And that could also mess your hormones up.
Exactly. And I'm still quite up and down, to be honest. Yeah. So anyway, I left. Don't know if I paid the fee for it. I haven't been charged, but so anyway, and then so I'm still dealing with it. I think I'm going to look into it more, but it's just really affecting me, and I'm.
But do you think it's like purpose driven too? Do you think that there's a point where it's like, do you think that the way your life has been, where you kind of felt like you're in a bit of a rut, where like that not having some sort of purpose, like, because you weren't finding joy in what you were doing and it wasn't what you wanted, what you meant to be doing, that with you now making this decision to leave and then you finding a new energy to do different things, do you think that could help you possibly?
Hopefully, and that's definitely what I'm going to be looking at when I come back. Does my external factor change? Like, does it help? If not, then I probably will go back to the doctors. But I'm trying everything within my power first before, just to see if it is more to do with you know, where I live, what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah.
I do think a big thing as well is the pressure because of everybody else. So like for example, your friendship circle currently, everybody is like settling down in these long-term relationships, having babies, getting married, doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So I do think, obviously you mentioned it earlier about being like lonely and stuff. I do think that may have a part to play in it too, where if you came back and then you were maybe around people in similar positions like me, maybe that may also happen. So I do agree with you, like trying different things before making a decision like that, but also the fact that you are investigating it and have made a decision to have those conversations with the doctors is also a big step for you too. Because you never, like you said, it may be something you do need to take that edge off, because like with me, that's what I did and it worked. But I'm not saying that that's going to be the same for everybody, but
like if it is to do with my cycle, it is just a thing of like, this is every month.
I know, it's not okay.
You only get one good week, it feels like, and then every 3 weeks out of the month it's like,
but it's not okay.
No, that's not okay. No. Like that's 12 months a year for every month.
But would that be a gynecology thing? Would you need to go, if it's all around based on your cycle, or would that be someone of like
no, I think it would be but I think like it's so hard, isn't it?
You do really struggle with like I think also having that amount of time each month can also excessively a lot on you. So like, and not even that, the dread of it knowing it's coming.
Exactly.
Like, I can't be asked because I know that's going to come. And then even like if you're trying to plan something, you're like, oh, but I know that time of the month. I'm going to be in this state of mind. Then
I'm going to be so down and like self-loathing, and then I've got to go and do a presentation in front of 200. Do you know what I mean?
I've got to go to a party with my friends, and they're all doing X, Y, and Z.
I've got an audition, and that is when I come on my period, and I'm going to have a Menti B. Like, do you know what I mean?
That is really hard. That is really hard.
So I don't know what. I don't know what the outcome is, but yes, I do think I wouldn't be against going on antidepressants as well at the moment with how I have been feeling. I think if it relieved some of those, you just feel so helpless. Have you
thought about therapy? Oh God, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I have. I've been told many times I probably do need therapy, but that's for another episode, guys. How long have we got?
Therapy. No, because like again, I do think there's a lot of stigma around therapy as well.
Yeah,
I heavily relied, because now that's changing for me now, but I spoke about Dale, my psych, quite a lot during the last 2 seasons, and I would not have survived without him. Literally incredible. And now like Dale has moved to a different country, and obviously now with me transition out of Wales stuff, I don't have that kind of access anymore. So and right now I'm kind of okay with it, but I do think therapy is something I still need to get back into, and because I do think that you can speak to your friends and stuff, but it's very different when you're speaking to a complete stranger, and that's something I hated before, because the thought of actually trusting someone I don't know and speaking to someone I don't know did not work for me.
Really? Because I prefer that, because you never see them.
No. So years when I was younger, I tried therapy, different types of therapy. Never worked. I'd go for like 2 sessions and I'd never go back because I was like, nah, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
And then it just came to a stage, kind of like what you said when you were like, right, I'm going to do this. Kind of happened with me where I was like, I'm ready to talk about it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then that psych would leave or whatever. So it was that vicious cycle.
Yeah, you're like, oh, great.
But then I met Dale, and then he just solved all my problems.
I do think it is like finding the right person. It's like a relationship again. It's finding the right person, but also maybe we need to talk or like how do you find a therapist or the right therapy for you? Yeah, exactly. Because there's different types of therapy as well.
And people use therapy for different things.
Exactly.
And I think there's different therapists for different things too.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. So like for me now, coming out of the life I'm going through, who should I be going to speak to?
Yeah.
Because I don't need to speak to a performance therapist or a psych anymore, because that's not relevant to my life. So
what is my therapy?
I do think it's healthy, because I don't think you need to be depressed to speak to a therapist. I don't think you need to be like in the darks of your mental health to speak to someone. Yeah. I think that is still really healthy to unload and then speak about different areas of life that's going on, because you might not even realise there's certain things to unpick. Because you may not even realise that.
And it's funny, isn't it? Like being vulnerable in front of a stranger, but also, because I did do counselling a little bit, And I just remember one time just like crying to this counsellor, and then you're just like, okay, bye. And then it's almost like you do get that release, and you don't have to see it, like,
and the closure of like the meeting ending, and you just leave.
And then like with a friend, you're like, oh my god, they saw me crying on Wednesday, and now hiya, like, do you know what I mean? There is that kind of
I think what I struggled with when I was younger was speaking to someone for an hour, unlocking it, and then leaving. That for you, it's funny because you were like, oh, I like that. For me, I find that hard because I then would be like, how have I then got to deal with all of these feelings I've just unlocked, which I've never really spoken about, and then I've just got to go home and just sit in them. But now, like I said, I met someone that I really trusted and built a really good relationship and connection in one word then. Connection with, who I really then could trust. So that, I think that's the biggest thing, is just finding, I suppose, the right person, and
like you said,
and buying into it, because I suppose if you don't buy into it properly, you're not going to get the benefits from it that you need.
And like you said, like, yes, having a reason, but sometimes your reason might not actually be the reason that like that comes out, or that you actually need to address as well. So it's not like, oh, but I remember I used to go, but I don't have a bad enough problem or issue.
Bad enough problem? Do you know
if it's affecting your life, then it is not bad enough, but it is, worth talking about.
Yeah.
So
I think that's pretty healthy.
So so that's for another episode though.
We'll dive straight into that.
We'll get a professional on for that one.
So what's next?
What's next for us?
Yeah. What's next for us?
Well, I'm moving back to Wales.
I need to eat.
Yeah, literally.
Starving.
I'm moving back to Wales in 4 weeks. No job, no plan, just good vibes. What about you?
I love that. Well, I'm still in Wales currently. Not for long, but I am in Wales.
Not for long.
I also have no job. New vibes for me though, because I'm obviously going into my calm vibes. Calm vibes. Just to go into different countries to play rugby.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Let's just do a little mood board goal board.
Okay.
And then you can...
Goad. Mood board.
Let's do a goad. A goad.
We're making a lot of new words in this podcast today. Go into different countries to play rugby this I say summer, but this year. Obviously this podcast. Want to do more kind of speaking events and like webinars around my experience and endo, that sort of stuff would be also cool. I also just need to earn money because I'm obviously not got a job. So
that's the same. So if you've got anything that we can help with, like, let us know.
Litter picking, cleaning,
vintage tea parties, we've done those. That's a story for another day.
And I think just like I've obviously moved back into my house now since it was flooded.
With so nasty stuff.
I just actually sitting in it and appreciating it and having my own home back.
Having a home.
I think that was quite traumatic and really triggering, losing the house, because it was even since I've been a kid, having my own home is the first time I've actually felt like I've got
a safe space.
I like that no one can take away from me. So then obviously being homeless is very, very triggering. So to now have it back and to be able to live in it, and it's clean and it's mine and I can just sit in it in my pants. I'm
with Marley.
It's just great. So in the time that I'm not being busy, I just really appreciate going home, to be completely honest.
Just simple pleasures. It doesn't need to be in complex. My garden
with the dog, literally. So I am looking forward to those days.
That's great. I love that. That's great. I was going to say I can't wait to drink Welsh water from the tap again, but each their own. Yeah,
you make your tea. Kate is tea obsessed. I should have brought you one, to be fair.
These Doritos have dried me out.
So I'm going to continue the tradition at the end of the podcast.
Right.
The previous guest leaves the next quest. The next guest a question.
Okay.
But obviously, it's very interesting because we haven't filmed since last year. So this last guest.
Oh my gosh.
Was obviously since last year, And I did sneak and look at the picture, so I don't think you're going to be able to answer one of them. But I'm going to.
Okay. Well, challenge accepted then. Oh my gosh.
It is 2 questions, so you will be able to answer one.
Can I choose the one I want to answer? Or?
Well, you won't be able to answer the other one.
Oh, right.
But you'll soon understand why.
Okay. This is interesting.
Okay. So, the last guest was 2 guests. It was the testicular cancer episode with Oddballs.
Right.
So the first question is, when was the last time you checked your balls? So obviously you can't answer that, so we will leave that for the next guest.
Yes, please do.
But the second question is, which is, I think, quite good for you to answer.
God,
what
therapy.
door are you not knocking on that you want to open? That is a good question.
I know
very
the answer
good
anyway.
question. Well, what is the answer?
The dating door. Because she's avoidant.
I was not expecting that answer.
Were you not?
No.
What's been like single for 7 years and not dating? I probably should. I'm 29.
I just thought you were going to say something about acting or something.
I mean, yeah, but that door I've constantly knocked on. I think this door I've locked and
we
lost
were meant
the
to
key.
be ending this episode, but we're going to be restarting it with that answer.
No, well, leave it there, but I will be back, guys. Well, if I am back, it will make sense with
Well, you're producers, so I hope you're not going anywhere.
Associate producer none.
Well, just a bit of context around why you do want to knock on that door. Why you're not knocking
I think I've just, I've not dated for a good couple of years after a very bad relationship. And I think I've actively avoided. I think I've actively become avoidant. And I'm actively avoiding putting myself in any vulnerable situation. But then I'm actually not allowing myself to enjoy that part of my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I really feel like I get a bit sad because I'm like, Kate, you do deserve love as well. And I feel like you're
the one preventing it.
You're your own worst enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's really hard when the reason why you're in that position is just because of how somebody treated you. Do you know what I mean? And you're protecting yourself because you're like, I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, I do not want to be vulnerable. And
that's really scary because then at what point do you open yourself back up to be like, okay, I'm ready. But all of this time you've protected yourself from becoming that vulnerable.
And the longer you go, the scarier it becomes. And it's that fear we were talking about. And I am being a bit of a hypocrite, but it's just like, I am letting the fear of it really put me off, doing anything or meeting anyone.
Yeah, but I suppose... I'm going to be a bit of a hypocrite as well.
Go on.
But I suppose it's very difficult when it becomes to being... That's the most vulnerable there is. Like, letting someone into your life... That, in that close nature, that is the most vulnerable. So I can completely understand, especially because it's not like you have no reason. Your previous relationship has really put you off because of how traumatic it was and how you were treated. So I can understand why that, for a long period of time... put you in the mindset to be like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then you get into that cycle and it's so easy to just keep pushing away and pushing away.
I'm hyper-independent now.
That becomes years and years, and then it's like, okay, when does that change?
Well, exactly. And I think, like we said, now reaching the age of 29 where everyone is like married, I almost feel like I've missed the boat and most of the decent men are now taken. And we've only got red flags about, and that's me again.
You never know because when you're not looking,
I hate this.
Well, it happens.
Didn't look for 7 years, and no one found me.
I can just see it happen now. You're gonna end up being back. You're gonna move back to Wales, and you're gonna go out with someone from school.
Watch this bit. What's from school?
It's gonna happen. It's someone that's still living in Armford.
No, never.
No, but I do think it's a pressure thing as well, isn't it? Again.
Yeah.
All your friends are having babies, getting married and stuff, and then it's like you go to the wedding and you don't have +1.
How many weddings have I been to now? I've been bridesmaid like 5 times. I'm literally like.
But I do think it's sad because you obviously want it to happen, but also I just think that it is pretty cool that you are strong enough to be on your own. Yeah, you've survived like all this time without anyone, and I do think. It can become a cycle where people become reliant on being with a partner. Yes, definitely. And then you end up being in a relationship you shouldn't be in for a lot longer because you're unhappy. Yeah. But your life is solely based around that person and the life you've created. So you become unhappier because it's easy to stay. Yeah. And I do think you get to a stage then with your art where you know what you want because of what you've been through and your process now of being without it for so many years. So you're not willing to settle for anything less. And I do think that's cool because you're not desperate. It's not like you're going to meet anyone and be like, I'll take anyone. You also are the opposite. You're like, I know what I want. I know how I deserve to be treated. Yeah. And we all want you to be treated in the right way as well. Yeah. So you're not going to settle for anything less.
Yeah. And I think it's like, I know who I am. I think I'm kind of coming to the point where it's like, unless they're bringing something to my life, I'm not going to settle kind of thing. And I think a lot, it's really hard when you're always in a relationship or like go from one relationship to the other to then know who you are on your own, and that's scary for people. It is. Your
friends become the same. Your routine becomes the same.
Exactly. Who am I? What do I enjoy? And the older you get, that becomes even scarier as well. So
I do agree with that. And then it becomes, when you are unhappy, it's like, but it's easy to stay, isn't
it? Exactly. So, but I am thinking, because you know what it's like. I don't like to share a bed. I don't like to share a bed.
She's tough though, because whenever we go on holiday, she always wants 2 singles, and I'm like, nope, we're either having a big double or I'm pushing the single beds together.
I know, I'm not. So I just bring you plugs.
She also, I don't snow. And she also now, if I ever come to stay over her house, she says, "Oh, do you want to stay in the spare room?" I'm like, no. I'm staying in your bed with you. I'm not staying in the spare room.
Well, just now it was cool that I'm hyper independent.
Yeah, not without me though. I don't count to that. So, I'll be sharing a bed with you when we're 50, girl.
Oh yeah, here's my new husband and Ffion sharing the bed with us.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
We come as a package deal, so.
They do say if you've been friends with someone for more than 20 years, you're going to be friends the rest of your life. So unlucky, bitch.
I think they say 7, so imagine what it is.
Okay, I just made that up.
So if it's 3 times, you're stuck with them.
Well, we'll be forever together.
Yeah, there we go.
He needs to run many tests before he gets
accepted. Oh yeah.
Or she can be a she too if she wants.
She can be.
She can be whatever.
Whatever, exactly. So.
Well, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
These big steps.
I'm very proud of you too.
Thanks. Yeah, you are taking big steps, and actually answering that question and putting that out in the air is also a big step for you as well.
Yeah. So watch this space for both of us.
Maybe by the end of the season, we could find her a boyfriend. That just sent shivers down her spine.
I literally curled in on myself.
You are going to be a hermit with 10 cats, a book, and a cup of tea.
Not cats, dogs, but yeah, literally.
No, she is a cat.
No.
I'm the dog, she's the cat. You are.
This is where we end before we get into a big argument.
You are hyper independent. You're a cat.
What? I'm going to be cutting this. I'm the producer. I'll cut what I want.
Okay, we're leaving now. Well, thank you for joining me on the new episode. She's already moving you off. Yeah, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. And here's to season 3.
Here's season 3. Hopefully you make it to the end.
Watch this space.
Love you.
Love you.
Come on.
Love you.
She needs to be better with talking about her feelings. Tell me you love me.
I love you. I tried not to look in your eyes. I was like,
whenever we ring each other, I'm like, hey, love you, bye. And she just say it back. So I have to ring her back and be like, you didn't say love you.
Just hang up. Just hang up.
All right. And remember, guys, to keep saying it how it is.
Bye.